All right, let's begin standing today and let's shake it out. Since some of you said you're feeling tight, you may want to hold on to a piece of furniture and lift one leg and really let it shake that side for a little bit because sometimes we get into habitual holding patterns. So you may let it go close down to the floor and then shake it out to the side. Shake it forward, shake it back, try to release. Here comes Vicky. Okay, and then turn around or find another support. Shake the other leg, shake it out wide, shake it down towards the floor, shake it a little forward, shake it a little back, shake it out to the side. And then come back to center, maybe a little bouncing, shaking the arms all the way up to the shoulders, bouncing a bit, hands releasing, spine releasing. Maybe the hips bounce a little bit side to side. And let's go right into our figure eights. Figure eight with the hips. He's like, come pet me. Come pet me, mom. I don't know if you all can see her, but she's totally belly up right now. All right. Taking those hips wide if it's comfortable. You may even come up onto the ball of your foot. Get a little bit of movement for your ankles. And then take your figure eights the other way. A fluid breath. Even as we move, can you invite the breath deep into the torso? And really feel into your hips. How do they impact the knees? Where's the pressure on your feet? And then come back to center and roll one shoulder and the other. Stretch across the body from toe to shoulder. Feel for the shoulder blade really moving on the back of the rib cage. And some of you may take the elbows. Fluid breath. Remember, you're looking for space around the head of the arm bone. So you don't want to take it so far back that you're popping the arm bone forward. Just let it be a gentle motion. And reach your fingers, point your toes. Maybe you're reaching your arm up, maybe you're reaching it wide down here. Maybe you're just working with your legs. Any of those are okay. Some of you may be able to backstroke. Fluid breath. And bring your hands back to center. Step your feet wide. Turn the toes out. Bend your knees if that's comfortable. Arms up. Exhale, pinkies towards one another. See if you can spiral the arms so the backs of the hands are towards each other and take a deep inhale into the back body. And exhale, open the arms. Inhale into the front chest. And follow your movement. Exhale the movement. Inhale, fill the shape. And reach your hands up, spread your fingers, maybe lift your heels, fist your hands as they come down, and reach. Remember, you could be reaching out here or even down here. This is work on getting the hands open, stretching the myofascia around the bones in the hands, lifting the heels, working the feet. If that hurts to lift the heels, don't do it. Fluid breath. We're using the quads if we have the knees bent. Yeah, good. And come up to standing. Okay, take your hand to your piece of furniture again. And actually, let's step up on a block. Okay, so you could be touching a wall, hand on a piece of furniture, or you could just be standing if you know you have balance that feels good. Step your foot up onto the block, and let's do a little hip opening right here. So what I want you to do is lift the knee, and then just let the leg go. And it's okay if it swings back behind you a little bit. Okay, but you're not doing this. Your torso isn't moving. You're just finding whatever freedom you can find in the hip joint itself. Heart lifted. Gaze at the mountaintop. And just feel into the leg. Now, just let that leg dangle long and just swing it. And I'm letting you swing a little more than I do sometimes. It's okay if your hip follows because we're trying to get the psoas to open a little, the muscles around the femur bone to release. And now just swing really gently and see how far you can swing forward to back with the motion coming from the femur bone, not the pelvis. So now try to keep your ilium bone still and just let the femur bone move. It won't be a big motion, but let the leg dangle out of the hip joint. Now that, while you're doing that, stand strong on the four corners of the other foot. Feel your back myofascial slings. Let your head rest back, gaze at the mountaintop, heart center lifting. Good. And step down. And just for a moment, stand on both legs and just notice if there's a difference from just having done that. For me, there's a pretty big difference. Okay, let's try the other side. Come up onto your block and let the foot dangle. And let's lift the knee and then drop the leg. Lift the knee and then release the leg. Lift and release. Lift and release. Fluid breath. And just let the momentum, the tensegrity of your body kind of take action, take hold as long as it doesn't hurt, so that that stretchy tension is getting to release the leg and there's a little bit of a rebound effect. And you're not having to work so hard because you're relying on the elasticity of your body. And then let the leg dangle long and swing it with a little momentum this time. The pelvis can follow as long as that doesn't hurt. Fluid breath. But feel how gravity does pull down on these heavier bones in our body as we let the legs swing, which will help us release the tissue deep into the hip. Now let the swing be a little smaller and see if you can keep the pelvis pretty still and just allow the femur bone itself to swing, rooting down into the four corners of the standing foot, lengthen your side bodies. Lift the back of your armpit a little bit. Shoulder blades strong on the back, heart lifted. Gaze at the mountaintop. Okay, now step down and props out of your way. Let's float one side to the other. Now you can keep both feet on the ground. You could lift to one toe, or you can lift to one foot, lifting the back leg that you're swinging away from, or you can lift onto the ball of the foot. Okay, so any of those. You could even hop. Okay, but if that's bad for your body, don't do it. If that's bad for your joints, those of us who can hop, when we bounce a little, it helps us build bone density. Fluid breath, but don't do it if it doesn't feel good in your joints. We bounce a little bit. You can go lower with your legs if you want a little bit more workout. If you want to warm up the body with that biotensegrity. Good. And then come back in. Okay, let's do a little bit more myofascial warm up. Let's bring the circular theraband around the sole and top of our foot at the arches. And here, as he keeps messing up my pillow, you can also pick up your hand weights. Okay, so those of you who want to use hand weights. All right. So we'll bring our hand weights up and we step. Ooh, it's a hard step and in. Step and in. Your arms could be down here. Okay, your arms could be here. Whatever feels right to you. We open out, step back in, open out, step back in, open, step, open, step, open, step, and open together. Okay, try the other side. We open together, open together. Woo! Getting a little warmed up as we work. Two more. Okay, now as you open, step it just a little bit back and in. It's back and wide and in, wide and in. Let's do something different with the arms. Come out. And as you take it out, open the arms, bicep curl in, open and in, open and in, open and in, open and in. Other side. So it's back and a little bit wide. The wide keeps the theraband on your foot. Open and bend. Step back and forward. Back at your 45 degree. Woo-hoo. Okay, bring your hands down. Let's check our balance at the beginning of class. Lift to your left toe. Get your hands ready to bicep curl. Bicep curl your arms, lift the foot. Touch down wide and lift and wide. Lift and wide. Keep your heart up. Myofascial slings on your back. Gaze at the mountaintop. Fluid breath. And this time lift and hold. Lift your arms. Bend your elbows and pulse up with the arms and the foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Step wide. Fluid breath. Deep into your torso. Fill the whole circle of your lowest ribs. Feel for the diaphragm moving. And come to your right toe. Hands ready to bicep curl, and lift. And touch, lift, touch wide, lift, touch wide, lift, touch, lift, and touch. Heart lifted, gaze at the mountaintop, head over heart over pelvis, and lift and hold. Lift your arms, lengthen up, bend your elbows, and ready to pulse up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And step down. Okay. Now we've warmed up those hips. Let's come to the floor. Okay. Have your long theraband handy. Have your Gertie ball. And have your yoga therapy ball. And lay yourselves down. Okay, so we started with a little dynamic movement this morning. We wanted to warm up muscles before we start stretching them. So now we lay in constructive rest, heels aligned with sit bones, and we take the tailbone towards earth and over accentuate the lumbar curve. Tailbone towards sky flat and the lumbar curve. And inhale and exhale. Fluid breath. Feel into it as you roll the pelvis. Does that feel okay in your spine? Can your shoulders relax wide, your jaw release, and your gaze be perpendicular to the floor? Now, next time you tilt the tailbone skyward, activate your glutes onto the bones and take a few deep inhales into your low back. Shoulders broad. Fluid breath. You've tilted your pelvis skyward, your glutes are turned on. Bring your fingers to your low abdomen and palpate between your hip bones, kind of lower down, and notice, yes, when we tilt the pelvis skyward, we turn on the low abs. We want the low abs to become strong, to create kind of like a waist belt around the top of the pelvis. And then release into your neutral curve, over accentuate the neutral curve. Take a pause. Take a few deep inhales into the abdomen. Feel what stretches. And come back to your neutral curve. Now, take your pelvis around in pelvic clocks where you're rolling towards 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 12 o'clock around your sacrum. And your bones can move, the hips can move, and you'll feel how you're moving through that tilt of tailbone towards sky and tilt of tailbone towards earth. But you're also kind of rolling side to side. So you're stretching some other muscles in the low back and pelvis. Fluid breath. Come back up to 12 o'clock and take your pelvic clocks the other way. 12 to 9 to 6 to 3. And take it slow enough you can feel how you activate muscles to lift the tailbone skyward, and how those muscles are all around the hip. You might feel them activate in the buttock, the inner thigh, the front abdomen. Now come back to neutral and float one leg to tabletop. Land the foot light as a feather. Now, if any of you wanted to use leg weights, you could use it for the first part of this, okay? Not required at all. And today we're kind of focusing more on the stretch of the hips than we are that. But if you want to do that for the next series, as we step into series of 5, that's fine. Float one leg to tabletop and the other to join it. Hug your knees into your chest and circle them wide apart and back together again. Again, focusing on the fluidity and opening of the hips, even though we will also build strength because that is a way to warm the hips up so they stretch more easily. My goal for us is to have strength all around the hip and fluidity in our movement so that they're strong, flexible, mobile muscles. Now hug both knees into the chest and take a few deep breaths into the low back. Feel how the breath can stretch and release tissue. Some of you will nod nose towards mouth and pause here, almost lifting from the hairline. Some of you will float the head up and in towards the center of your body, like your nose could reach over your navel. Fluid breath. And release. Stepping your feet down, move the pillow out from under your head and bring in your block or your Gurdy ball or your oov underneath your pelvis. Make sure it's under the sacrum, no pillow. Bring your arms into robot arms, palms facing each other across your torso. And float one leg to tabletop and the other to join. Open your knees as wide as your shoulders, heels together, and toe dip your right foot. Come back up heel to heel. Toe dip your left foot, heel to heel. And feel how you're working from the inner thigh up through the pelvis towards the spine. You're working your psoas, your main hip flexor. Warming up this big muscle group. Your iliacus, which lines your pelvis, also helps you to lower and lift the leg. If you didn't have your pelvis stabilized, it would pull your pelvis towards your inner thigh. But we're on our backs, we're using our upper bodies, we're stabilizing the pelvis, so these muscles are moving the leg. Now, come back up when you've evened your sides and draw the legs together, hug the midline, activate even your glutes towards midline, your outer legs, even the pinky toe side of your shin and calf. And then with that container awake, outer hips still hugging in, shoulders broaden. We press down the whole length of the humerus bone and keep our Pilates square turned on. And we open the right leg out to the right. And we come back to center. Stay with the right leg. As you open the right leg, feel the right shoulder activating. Connect the right shoulder to the left buttock. That's your back myofascial sling. Stay with flexed feet. Try to stay still on the ball. You're not wobbling. Come back in. If you're wobbling, make a smaller motion. Now hug the midline again. Have the outer hips hug in. Have the outer edges of the legs, even the pinky toe side of the feet, hug in towards midline. So do the inner thighs. Turn on your Pilates square, shoulders strong. Take the left leg out and come back in. Feel how you can create a container for the movement. Now, as you move the left leg, connect the left shoulder to the right buttock. Feel how there's a line of stability there for you. And when you come back in left this time, open right. And come in right and open left and continue to go back and forth. The whole focus being on how still you can stay as the one limb moves. But you don't have to get really tight in the neck or the jaw. And come back in. And coming back to tabletop, lift your legs straight up, heels together. Take your feet as wide as the mat. Down the mat, heels together, and up the center line. Now, if you do have leg weights on, you're doing a small circle until you feel balanced. If you don't have leg weights on, you're also finding your balance before you go larger or longer. And then you find a healthy challenge in the movement for you. Let's point the toes, stretching the front fascia of the feet. And then let's point the toes, drawing just the toes back, stretching from big toe ball mound to pinky toe ball mound, trying to look for space between the toes. And let's flex the feet, pressing up through the heels. Feel for a stretch of the backs of the legs. And we remember that stretching the feet will also help us open the fascia in the hips. And coming back to center, take the right leg overhead, left leg long, and begin with a small bicycle. If you can, try to extend the one leg that's starting to reach down the mat. Smooth, slow circles. Some of you may be able to bring the lengthening leg toe back in along the floor. Let's point the feet. And then let's float the feet. You're getting a nice eccentric contraction of the psoas, which moves from inner thigh up to both sides of the spine. Let's flex the feet. Simultaneously stretching the backs of the legs as we move the legs. And remembering that this position helps us drain blood and lymph from the legs back towards the torso to replenish the body. And let's come back, legs together. Float one foot light as a feather to the floor and the other. Lengthen one leg out, stretch your arms overhead if that's comfortable for you. And really try to extend the lengthening leg. Now, because I'm in my mom's house and there's a desk right here, I can wrap my hands around the desk leg and traction my foot away even a little bit more. So use what's available in your space. Some of you may have a wall right there you could press your fingers against. If not, you can just imagine you're reaching for the wall, reaching your foot for the opposite wall. Really find a stretch on the inhale. And then on the exhale, relax over the props. If you'd like to, walk the legs wide of each other. The bent knee can fall away from the straight leg. Breathe into the lining of the pelvis. And sometimes the stretch doesn't have to feel super rigorous to be effective in opening the fascia. Breathe deep into the belly, relaxing on the exhales. And step the legs back into center and reach the other leg long. And traction through your body. Make it a really active stretch for at least 3 breaths. And then pulse with the breath. Inhale the stretch. And exhale the relax. And some of you may be able to let your legs open wider and just relax into the stretch now. Relax the intestines inside the body as you exhale. Let the inner abdomen relax. And then some of you may want to stretch out both legs. Deep breaths into the psoas, which connects your inner thigh through the pelvis to the spine. And into your iliacus muscle, which connects your inner thigh to the whole bowl of your pelvis. Deep 3-dimensional breaths, a couple more, relaxing on the exhales. And step your feet back in and lift your pelvis up off your prop and release your hips to the floor. All right, reach for your yoga therapy ball now and bring it under one buttock and roll back and forth across the ball. Fluid breath, massaging the fascia. Now, if this is overly painful for any of you, really deflate your Gurdy ball and roll on the Gurdy ball instead. Okay, so you don't have to use a yoga therapy ball. You can also get a smaller or larger yoga therapy ball that's softer or harder. So experiment with what's available. In the fascia class I took, they used kind of felt balls that were kind of like those balls that you have for the dryer, those wool felt balls. I've never tried that, but I might try that when I get home. Fluid breath. Really paying attention to where the tight spots are. Breathing into them. And if you notice your body's gripping back, it's too much pressure. Take the ball down around the top edge of the sit bone. Remember that when we release connective tissue, we will have more comfortable mobility that doesn't catch in certain directions. Fluid breath. And when you feel good on that side, take it to the other side. And if you feel like, oh, I could be here all day, then you can come back to it after class. A fluid breath. Noticing if one side is really different from the other. I drove for 2 days and I'm noticing my left and right sides are very different. Fluid breath. Really exploring the whole landscape of the buttock, the outer hip, all the way in towards the sacrum. Remembering the deep 6 muscles sling between your greater trochanter and your sacrum, and that some muscles sling between your greater trochanter and your sits bones. So you're really rubbing this whole myofascial web that makes it so we can do everything we do with our hips. Some of it's about taking and making the time, isn't it? So we're making time to love on our hips today. Thank you, hips. Don't forget to roll around the sit bone. And then release your body back to the floor and just take a few moments to notice. Do you feel more open? Does your sacrum feel a little broader on the floor? Walk the soles of the feet together. Let the knees open wide. Pause in this external rotation of both leg bones. Notice if you're more or less open than usual. See if you can relax, open a little more on the exhales, and play with the distance of your feet from the pelvis. So you may take the legs a little longer, still soles of the feet together, and notice the stretch will change. It will move down, fluid breath. Notice any difference side to side. Draw the heels back up towards your sit bones. How does the stretch change? Now exhale, knees together. Walk your feet as wide as your mat or as wide as they comfortably go. Feeling into internal rotation of the femur bone. Notice what's stretching. Remember that the external rotation of the femur bones will bring the femurs closer together, which allows the hips to come in a little bit around the sacrum. Now, as we bring the knees towards each other, we're actually spreading the pelvis. You may try nodding tailbone towards earth and tailbone towards sky. Notice the stretch. Make sure it's not feeling like a strain in your knees. If it is, walk your feet a little closer. Now, knees pointing straight up, take both legs to the left. Reach out through the right knee, and if you'd like to, take your arms overhead. Fluid breath. Don't take your arms overhead if it feels like it's running ahead of an arm bone into the upper rotator cuff. Better to have your arms wide in a T or down by your hips. Focus on stretching through the knee. And exhale. Take your legs back to center and to the other side. Stretch through the back knee. Now we're getting to stretch our quads. We tried to warm up these big muscle groups at the beginning of class. You may feel the stretch inside your pelvis. That would be your iliacus muscle stretching down to the inner thigh. If you feel it along the inside of your back leg, you may be stretching your adductors. Exhale back to center. And step your right leg over your left in a cross-legged position, not a figure four position. And draw your knees into your chest. Let your hands rest on your knees. Nod nose towards mouth. Almost lift your head from the hairline. Feel your front neck flexors. Some of you will stay here hugging the legs in. Some will open your ankles away from each other and take your hands down towards your ankles, opening the feet out to either side. If you can't reach, you might be able to use a theraband on one ankle. Flex your feet, point your feet, circle your feet, and feel how you're moving the myofascia in the legs. And release, left foot to the floor, right foot to the floor. Cross left leg over right, cross-legged position. Find your neutral curve for a moment. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, knees into chest. This will flatten your back against the floor. If it's comfortable to you, open your ankles out to the sides. Let your hands move down your shins towards your ankles. Flex and point your feet. Circle the feet. And remember, if any of this doesn't feel good in a joint, don't do it. You can go back to a more neutral position. Noticing differences side to side so you could come back to the tighter side and stretch it later. And release. Feet back to the floor. Press your pillow out. Bring your arms into robot arms. Lift your pelvis. Now, today, I want you to lift the pelvis and lift the heart. Take the heart away from the pelvis. This is a yoga bridge. And pulse your pubic bone skyward. Just make sure it's not putting too much tension on your neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold. Hug your glutes into the bone. Hug your hips towards midline, keeping your bones where they are. Ground the four corners of each foot. Lift your toes, lift your arches. This is an active bridge. Keep the toes lifted. Breathe into the belly. Ground from head of the arm bone to elbow. Active across the upper back. Feel for the breath expanding the ribs. Relax the toes. Relax the arms. Release the pelvis. Lengthen the spine out away from the pelvis. Bring your hands to your hip creases. Press into the hip creases and lengthen the spine out of the pelvis. Fluid breath. Stretchy Pilates today. Now, nod your nose towards your mouth. Float one leg to tabletop and the other to join. Draw the right leg in, lengthen the left leg out at your 45-degree. And if you'd like to, lift your head. Remember, contraindicated with osteoporosis. And switch legs. The lowest I'd like your leg to come is about 30 degrees out from your hip. Remember, you can slightly turn the feet out to work more of that vastus medialis, but you have to get your leg towards straight to actually work that muscle. If you're not straightening the leg, you're not getting it. Fluid breath. Working our core now, working our hip flexors that we just stretched out, moving blood, moving lymph. Hug both legs in, rest the head down, reach hands and feet for the sky. Take ankles away from wrists, circle the arms and hug in. Remember, you can toe dip the knees, circle the arms and hug. You don't have to lengthen the legs, or you can reach the legs long. Whatever you do, keep the heels together so that you're aware of where your midline is. Inhaling out, exhaling in. Some of you will nod nose towards mouth. Some of you will actually lift the head from the hairline. Inhaling out, exhaling in. Float the feet and flex the feet. Reach out to the heels or toe dip from the heels. And one more. And come back in. And bring your hands behind your head And exhale, lift your right elbow. Bring your legs back to tabletop. Rest your head into your arms and pulse the elbows skyward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold. Hold here. So your right elbow skyward, toe dip your left toe. Come back up to tabletop. Toe dip left and up. Go a third to 2/3 of the way down. Toe dip and up. Toe dip and up. Release to center. Exhale, lift the left elbow and pulse it towards the sky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold. Toe dip the right leg and come back up and toe dip. Remember, a toe dip is an opening from the hip. You keep the knee at a right angle. Keep the left elbow lifted. And release back to center. Lift the right elbow, toe dip the left leg, and come up. As you toe dip left, reach the right elbow more. And back, and up, and back. The leg toe dips, the elbow lifts, and release. Lift and release, lift and release, lift and release. Other side. Lift and release, lift and release. As you lift, the leg toe dips. Come back, toe dip. Come back, fluid breath. Last one. Come back to center and release your arms wide. Hug your knees in and circle the legs wide apart and back together again. Take your circles the other way. And coming back to center, hug the knees in and reach the right leg overhead, left leg long in your scissor. Pulse, pulse with a pointed foot switch. Pulse, 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 pulse. Nod nose towards mouth. Almost lift from your hairline. Everybody stay here for a few pulses. Feeling into lengthening through the crown, waking up those front neck flexors. Float your feet. Some of you will float your head up, flex your feet, reach out through the heels, reach out through the whole myofascial web. Fluid breath, getting a nice stretch in the back of the leg that's coming towards you, towards your head. And legs back together. Release one foot to the floor and then the other. Reach for your long theraband. Bring your long theraband up over your right foot. And as you're ready, pendulum the right leg. Now here again, you can practice releasing the head of the femur in the pelvis. Try not to let the pelvis go along for the ride. So feel for the femoral head moving with the pelvis still. So your lumbar spine is not flattening as the foot comes skyward. You may not lift it as high, but you're working on freedom inside the pelvis. Fluid, three-dimensional breath. If your theraband's long enough, your elbows are on the floor, your shoulders are on the floor, you're broad across your back. Now come all the way up, lengthen the left leg out on the floor. Take the right foot across towards 3 o'clock, down towards 6 o'clock, out towards 9. And draw your clock with your foot. It can start small, like it's a little circular travel alarm. And it can get larger and larger until it's a clock tower face. Fluid breath. And as your leg spins, feel how you're both strengthening and stretching here, creating fluid motion. Come back to 12 o'clock and take small circles towards the pinky toe side. 9, 6, 3, and 12. And let the circles get a little larger and a little larger. But try to really draw a circle, not a blob. Fluid breath. Single leg circles in Pilates are more intermediate work, especially when we come back to 12 o'clock. Some of you will keep the strap on if you feel like you need it. Some of you will take the theraband off. Ground your back, palms up, head grounding, long leg grounding. Take your right foot across towards the left side to begin. Draw your clock. Fluid breath. Feel how now your core really has to work to hold on to this moving femur bone. Point the foot and come to 12 o'clock. Take your circles the other way. Really ground your shoulders because your myofascial slings will help support you here. You can take the circle larger and larger as is comfortable in your body. Larger isn't better. Grounded shoulders are better. And come back to center and hug the knee in. Take a few fluid breaths in your runner's stretch. Relaxing the whole back body onto the floor. Releasing in the hips on the exhale. And release the right foot to the floor. Step the left leg up into your theraband. Left foot. And remember, you want the theraband wide open. It should kind of reach from your transverse arch. It should cover your transverse arch down to the kind of middle foot. Okay, so you don't want it all bunched up in one spot. Spread it out so that your big toe ball mound and pinky toe ball mound can press up into the theraband so that you avoid your habits of pronating and supinating. You press evenly into the big toe ball mound, the pinky toe ball mound, the inner and outer heel. Now remember, we're beginning here, the pendulum. We're looking for a neutral lumbar curve and freedom of movement of this femur bone in the hip joint. Fluid breath. This side is not quite as free as my other side, I'm noticing. Shoulders are broad, jaw is relaxed, eyes are relaxed. And we come up to the top, lengthen the right leg out, take the left leg across the body and around. So big toe goes to the right side first from the 12 o'clock. Fluid breath. And you can start small and get larger. Try to draw a circle. So sometimes when we have tight tissue around the leg, it'll be easier to draw a blob because our leg doesn't want to stretch in that direction. So we get to the point where we can draw a really beautiful circle of one size, and then we let ourselves go to a little larger circle, and we check, is it a circle? And then we go a little further. And hopefully you're enjoying the stretch as the leg crosses the body. And then we come back to the top and we go to the pinky toe side, starting small. Really feeling into our lower body as we work today. Into our hips. Where do we feel constrained? What wants to open? What needs to strengthen? It's a mindfulness practice. So you can either leave the theraband on or try the circles without the theraband, taking it first across the body to the right. Start small and keep your shoulders grounded. Feel how you have to work your core and your myofascial slings to try to move the leg individually. And remember, you can bend the knee. I see some people doing that. That's a good choice. You could circle from the knee. So some of you circling from the knee would be a better choice than straining for the long leg. Now come to 12 o'clock, take the circles to the pinky toe side. Start small. You could have a bent knee. Try that. Everyone try that. Notice if it's easier to draw the circle. Some of you will lengthen the leg. Shoulders broad. Remember, you want a pillow under your head. If your neck is short and you're looking out over your eyebrows, that's really important so that we practice healthy posture. And come back to center. Hug the left knee into your chest. Lengthen the right leg out and take a few fluid breaths. Okay, so I think we've done good hip work today. Let's release both feet back into constructive rest. Pillow out, lift into one more bridge. And swing. Right hip lifts, right buttock activates, swing across to the left. And back, and forth, and back, and forth. Fluid breath. Looking good. Really feel for that active glute, that releasing glute. See if you can connect the swinging glute, the lifting glute to the opposite shoulder. Can you feel that across your body? There's your myofascial sling again. Can you slightly activate the opposite shoulder so that you feel that myofascial sling? And then become aware of those back myofascial slings all week. Can they help you stay strong from the back body? Come back to center and lower down. And roll over onto your sides and come up onto hands and knees and settle back into your child's pose. It's another great way to open the hips. Resting in our child's pose, rocking our hips slightly back and forth. Deep breaths into the whole circumference of the torso. And you can stay here if this feels right for you, or walk your hands around to the right. Lift the left sit bone, take it wide, stretch the whole left side body. Let the breath stretch you open from the inside. We're staying here a little longer than usual today. Really inviting the opening. Walk around to the other side. Let your body be like a seed casing in the warm sun, stretching it open with the life inside. Fluid breath. Feel the breath stretch you open from the inside. Come back to center. Forearms on the floor, palms together. Step back into your low plank. Now, some of you will be able to stay with your legs long. Some of you may lower your knees to the ground and lift your feet. Either one, you're activating core strength. So choose the one that's right for you. Ground into your forearms, lengthen the neck out of your shoulder girdle. Stay strong in your Pilates square. Tailbone stretches away from the base of the skull. Three-dimensional breath. You can stay here or walk your feet in towards your head. Take your feet wide as your elbows press down into the forearms, lifting the head off the floor. Some of you will be able to line the head up so that your fontanelle, your soft spot, is straight up from the floor, and you can gently rest it onto the floor for 5-pointed star. Still putting most of the weight, almost all of the weight, 98% of the weight into your arms if you lower your head. Stretch your pelvis up away from the points of contact on the floor. Really lift the pelvis away. Let it be a stretch and an opening. 3-dimensional breath. Putting weight on our arms for a little bone density work. And walk your feet back out to your plank. And lower your knees to the floor. And float up into your downward dog. Start with a bent knee downward dog. And then walk your dog. Again, another hip stretch. So we're going to do something we haven't done in a while. I want you to lift your right foot off the floor. Take it in front of your left foot and through to the left side of your body, as far over as it will reach. You'll be karate chopping the pinky toe side of the foot into the floor. And then walk your hands back towards your left leg a little bit and press the right leg into the left femur and see if you can get a nice stretch in the left hip. 3-dimensional breath. And step the right leg back to normal. The left leg through to the right side of the body. Karate chop the pinky toe side onto the floor. And walk the hands and the foot a little bit back towards the right leg, stretching back, taking the right hip back away from the right shoulder. Fluid breath into the hip. And step the left foot back through. Walk your feet towards your hands. Bend your knees. Hands to the heart. Utkatasana. Fluid breath in your Utkatasana. Let's exhale, twist in one direction gently. Inhale to center. Exhale, twist to the other side. Inhale to center. Pause here and lift to one toe. Stay strong on the standing leg. See if you can float the foot off the floor. 3 full fluid breaths. When you finish your third breath, put the foot back on the floor, float to the other toe. Perhaps float the foot off for 3 fluid breaths. Put the foot on the floor, release the hands. Inhale, reach for the sky. Interlace your fingers. Bring the hands to the base of your skull. Lift the base of the skull, lift the elbows, rest your head back in your hands. Rooting into the feet, lengthen both side bodies up into the thumb, index, middle, ring, and pinky fingers. Hug your glutes gently into the bone and ground into the whole circumference of your heels. Lengthen the side body a little more. And exhale, hands to your heart. Mountain pose. Fluid breath. And pick up your Gertie ball. Move all your other props out of the way. And take your Gertie ball in your right hand, left toe out. And inhale, reach the ball up overhead. Bring it down into your Utkatasana. Take your left arm up, right foot out, circle overhead, come back. Utkatasana. We inhale, right arm up overhead. Utkatasana. Inhale, left arm up overhead. Utkatasana. Inhale, right arm up overhead. Utkatasana. Left arm up overhead. Utkatasana. Hold the ball between your hands and reach it down towards the floor and see if you can lift it back to your heart and down to the floor and back to your heart and down to the floor and back to your heart and down to the floor and back to your heart. One more. Down to the floor, back to your heart. Release it down to the floor. Throw it up, reach up, catch the ball, and let it go. Let's bring our heels together. Inhale, reach for the sky. Exhale, hands down through the center channel. Let your knees bend towards the floor. Inhale, lift the heels. Lift the heels, lengthen the legs, straighten up, straighten up, straighten up. And release back down. And one more time. Bend your knees. Lift the heels, begin to inhale, arms come out. Straighten the legs, reach the arms, lengthen as high as you can, up on the balls of your feet. Exhale, hands to the heart. And let's inhale in. A wonderful Wednesday for all of you. Thank you. All right. Hopefully your hips are a little more open.
Oh, thank you, Tracy. That was fantastic. I got to run, but